Imagine you meet a lady from your husband's childhood. She's funny, relatable, loves God, posts aesthetic content, and calls you her sister. You let her into your home and around your kids. You tell her about your marriage when it's rough because that's what sisters do. You trust her completely until she decides she wants your life, your husband, and even your kids. This is what happened to Akira Montague, and the woman who betrayed her and stole her life is Brene Kennard, now Brene Montague, a 27-year-old from Winterville, North Carolina. Brene is a TikTok influencer who built a brand on Christian values, relatability, and the kind of warm, everyday content that makes people feel like they know you personally. She has 3 million followers, brand deals, and a manager who happened to be her best friend, Akira's husband, Tim Montague. Keep in mind that when all this happened, Brene was married to Devin. And I also need to note that Devin is Tim's cousin. So Brene went after her husband's married cousin.
She is wanting to be in a relationship with my cousin again.
Brene started flirting with Tim whenever they were together, and trust me, they were together a lot. When they weren't spending time together with their families, they were spending time together for business meetings. Eventually, Brene divorced her husband, and Tim left his wife Akira to be with her. Rather than carry on with their new relationship quietly, Brene made all her social media content about Tim. It was like she was rubbing it in Akira and Devin's faces. They both seemed to be having the time of their lives until Akira took the case to court on November 10th, 2025. After a Durham County jury examined 700 pieces of evidence and heard 6 days of testimony, Brene was ordered to pay $1,750,000 for stealing her man. Between all of that, there were criminal charges, other pending lawsuits, social media rivalries, and a history dating back to 2014. Stay with me because we're going back to the very beginning, and I'm going to show you exactly how they got here. So here's the thing about this whole scandal. It did not start in 2024 when Brene announced her divorce. It did not start in 2023 when the affair allegedly began. It started in 2014 in high school when Brene and Tim dated briefly. That detail right there is the thread that unravels everything.
Track it back to high school. Basically, Brene dated Tim back when they were really young. Mind you, Tim was Brene's first love.
According to the research compiled from court records and media reports, Tim and Brene had a relationship in high school. But it doesn't stop there. Tim also allegedly had a fling with Brene's twin sister, Karen, and there are even rumors that Tim may be the father to one of Karen's children.
Tim ended up breaking it off for Brene. Now, circling back to the twin sister, Corinne. Corinne and Brene fell out and had a lot of beef in high school because Corinne basically slept with Tim after Brene and Tim broke up.
So right out of the gate, we have a man who has already been romantically connected to 2 members of the same family. That's the foundation the chaos was built on. Now fast forward to 2018. Tim Montague married Akira on October 20th. They built a life together. They had 2 kids born between 2019 and 2021. On the outside, they looked like a regular family. Meanwhile, Brene was doing her own thing. She joined TikTok in 2020 and started building a following. At first, she was posting uplifting, family-oriented, and relatable Christian content.
Get ready with me to go to church. It's our pastoral anniversary. Today is gray and pop of color. I'm gonna show you my outfit at the end of this video, okay? Remind me. All right, so first things first.
She grew to nearly 3 million followers on TikTok and over 274,000 on Instagram by late 2025. The Christian posts and daily lifestyle blogs attracted a lot of followers, no doubt, but it was her relationship drama that made her really famous on social media. In May 2021, Brene married Devin Mayo. Remember that Devin is the cousin of her high school sweetheart, Tim. Eventually, Tim becomes Brene's manager. Not just a family connection, not just a friend of the family, but her actual professional manager. She grew her brand. And that's where things started to get complicated.
We're gonna have some good times with good friends, making good memories. Little bit of sunshine and good vibes, yeah, that's all we need. And we ain't gonna worry, ain't in a hurry. Everything is going our way. We're gonna have some good times with good friends, making good memories. Everybody's moving to the song on the radio.
So he's in her business, in her content, in her brand decisions, and then also at every double date, in every family outing, every group event that Brene posted online. Devin is in the background. Akira is in the background. And Brene and Tim are front and center. People noticed that Brene had the camera on Tim more often than on her husband, Devin, in these videos. The camera was always on Tim. Whole time they were looking at each other. Yes, probably been had something going on for real. She had the camera on him. This is sad. It's hard to have real friends. There was one clip from mid-2022 that showed Brene and Tim dancing together while Devin sat alone in the background. The thing is, there was another video Brene posted dancing with Devin at the same parking lot. There was also a debate about whether Devin gave Brene the attention she needed, and maybe that's what drove her to do what she did. The comments were mixed. One group agreed that Devin was not interested in her. Not gonna lie, he would have annoyed me standing there like that. She wasn't wrong for leaving, she was wrong for how she went about it. 8. Tim engages with her. They wrong for how they went about it, sneaking. But Brene and Devin just didn't have the chemistry to me. Another group claimed he loved her, but just didn't like her social media activities since he's an introvert. He was interested in her. He just didn't know how to show it. He was even crying when he found out she cheated. That's just how he is. He's nonchalant. He explained that before. I love my husband, but I hate sharing anything on social media. I don't like attention, but my husband do because he is the life of the party. He knows how I feel, so we compromise that he can post pictures of us, but I'm not doing no TikTok or Reels, etc. We, however, take a lot of videos together for memories, but we don't share it on social media. There were claims that Devin married Brene as a joke, or at least rumors that she felt that way. Whether that's true or not, by the time Brene started moving closer to Tim, the marriage to Devin was already crumbling. Still, their friendship with Tim and Akira was stronger than ever. The double dates and shopping trips continued, but viewers could never have anticipated what happened next. Way back in 2023, all 4 of them were still posting content together. But eventually, Brene's content started to shift. Devin appeared less and less. Meanwhile, Tim, under the title of manager, showed up more and more. The worst part is that Akira, who was Brene's friend and confidant during this time, had no idea what was coming. As the tension in Brene's marriage got worse, she spent more and more time in Akira's house with her husband and kids. At some point, she even started posting the children of Tim and Akira on TikTok. And Akira, by all accounts, trusted her enough to confide in her about her own marital problems. That's where the betrayal started. Brene allegedly used that information, not to support her friend, but to make a move on Tim. In December 2023, after Brene's marriage finally ended, she decided to move in with Akira and Tim. Now, on the surface, that's not unusual. Your friend's marriage is struggling, so you open your door. Akira later claimed in court that the move was calculated, a deliberate attempt to get inside Tim's world while living under the same roof. Brene claimed it was just a practical decision during a hard time. Akira alleged that Brene walked around the house in revealing clothing, started flirting with Tim, and began having sexual encounters in their shared home.
Akira was pregnant with her second child. Things started getting weird because every time they would link up to do couple stuff, Brene would be wearing inappropriate clothes, like her booty cheeks would be hanging out, her titties, she would have no bra on, like things were just very inappropriate, and she would be extremely friendly with Tim. So this is where everything started getting speculated. Akira would constantly check Brene, like, hey girl, like, can you put a bra on?
The closeness that millions of followers had been watching build up over a year in TikTok videos was now playing out in real life, in real time. And to make it worse, in Akira's house, Devin said Brene confessed to him that she still loves Tim, even though he slept with her sister.
Like, for my wife to sit there and tell me that she loves another man, it's crazy to me. Like, you really had the nerve to sit there and tell me that to my face, that you love him and you don't want to hate him because he slept with your sister, and that you want to squash out those little feelings that you got towards him. But me trying to be understanding, I'm like, all right, go squash a little beef or whatever. So they do that. And then now she wants to go spend Christmas with him and his family. And I'm like, I mean, we didn't really plan that, but all right, that's cool. We go do something different, spend.
As if that wasn't bad enough, Devin also said he overheard explicit acts between both of them when Tim slept in their house.
They sleep in the bed together, whatnot. She made it seem like she was gonna sleep with me, but nah, she slept with him. And in them moments, I'm like, yeah, all right. I kind of got my feelings a little bit, but I'm like, I took my L. Cried about it, yeah, I did. I ain't gonna lie, it hurt to see it. But at that point, I just had to see it for myself to see if it was really real. And it was. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna say something about me after this little video, but it is what it is. Whatever.
All of this was happening in a home where all of these people were still supposed to be a family. It must have been terrible. Everything became public in 2024 when Brene made her relationship with Tim public. Tim separated from Akira on March 5th, 2024, and went on to pursue his relationship with Brene, thinking that was the end of it. But Akira wasn't about to let both of them go without consequences, and that's when she took them to court. Now, this is where things get serious. In May 2024, Brene was arrested for communicating threats against Akira. Brene allegedly said she would kill her, beat her, and knew where she stayed. At a time when Akira was already filing a civil lawsuit, Brene was also in criminal proceedings. Brene eventually deferred prosecution on that charge in December 2024. Deferred prosecution means she agreed to conditions, in this case, probation, anger management classes, and no contact with Akira in exchange for the charge not moving forward to a full conviction. She promised to comply with those terms, but that was the least of her problems. In September 2024, Brene was arrested yet again and charged with cyber stalking. She was released on a $2,500 bond. The charge stemmed from online harassment that Akira claimed was exacerbating her trauma. She harasses me constantly online, and she bullies me. She constantly is mentioning me and showing up to locations that do not pertain to her. I have a flash drive with the evidence of her violating the no-contact order for stalking. Brindy Kennard constantly mentions my name and answers questions pertaining to my personal life in pending cases. These acts have made me feel unsafe and in fear of the measures she will take to cause me distress. Brene simply couldn't stop talking about Akira and about what happened, and somehow she always managed to paint herself as the victim, trying to be the bigger person.
Go ahead and say this. First things first, PSA, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. I do not have any hatred in my heart for Tim's baby mom. I don't. Regardless of what we're going on legally, I don't have any hatred in my heart towards her. Point blank, period.
Now, let me be clear. These charges are still being processed by the system as of early 2026, but Brene seemed more concerned about maintaining a certain image online and would often mention Akira's kids in her videos.
And saying that if I don't like the baby mom, I don't like the kids. I love those kids, even like I said, when my position was auntie. Now that my position is, and it is stepmom, I love the children. I may not be fond and may not like the things that the baby mom is doing, not only to me, but also to the baby dad. But I'm not going to sit here on camera and to y'all, and I will say it to her and whoever else I need to, if when time is right, that I don't have any hatred towards you.
But trust the TikTok community to see through her antics. Brene would always get the attention she was seeking, but most people would call her out in the comments sections. That's annoying as F, cause how the F can you have hatred in your heart for someone who hurt you? Then on top of that, once you agree you're the auntie, you are the mom's sister, that's what the role means. She liked that man the whole time, LMAO. I don't think no one was saying she hates her, more so jealous. Then how can you have the audacity to say you do or don't hate someone who you went to and messed up this girl is really delusional? Brene didn't care about the negative comments though. She kept flaunting Tim on social media and made her entire online presence about him. Akira was not just watching her ex-husband flaunting a relationship online, she was dealing with a double-edged betrayal from the man she trusted with her life and the friend she took as a sister. To make matters worse, Akira constantly had to explain her situation to people, especially when Brene mentioned her in her videos.
No, I'm not a baby mama. I'm married. And even after that, if you're married and you have kids, you're not a baby mama.
Imagine having to explain to the world that you are actually a wife and not a baby mama simply because your best friend and husband decided to betray you. Things only got worse from here because Akira filed a civil lawsuit against Brene in May 2024 in Durham County Superior Court. She originally sought $3.5 million in damages, and she filed it under two laws that people in most states have never heard of: alienation of affection and criminal conversation. So what are those? I did some research and found out that the alienation of affection law allows you to sue a third party, not your spouse, but the other person, for intentionally interfering in your marriage. Criminal conversation is the legal term for adulterous sex. They were 19th century laws designed to give jilted spouses financial recourse for marital interference. Most states abolished them decades ago, but only 6 states still have them active. Fortunately for Akira and most unfortunately for Brene, North Carolina was one of those 6.
No, because Brene was really walking around on TikTok, well, not walking around, but was on TikTok parading this man around, and now you're getting sued for $1 million. What? And that is why it's so important to know your state's legislation.
That geographic detail is everything. Because if the cheating scandal had happened elsewhere, like Virginia, Georgia, or California, the lawsuit wouldn't have happened. Akira's legal strategy was only possible because she and Tim were married in North Carolina. Akira was patient, quiet, and built a case, while Brene was posting what she thought was her victory on social media. The more Brene posted, the more evidence she gave Akira. The court reviewed over 700 pieces of digital evidence submitted at trial. It included TikTok videos, screenshots, text messages, and so much more. Akira's lawyers presented every couple challenge, every flirty moment in a live stream, and every post where Brene showed off her relationship with Tim. All of it was numbered, filed, and presented to a jury.
Hello?
We on here? Hey
What's up,
guys,
y'all?
it's Brene.
It's Tim. Hello?
We on here?
What's up, y'all?
Hi guys.
Hello?
We on here?
What's up, y'all?
Hi guys.
During the initial part of the case, Brene chose to represent herself, a decision she would come to regret. Creators called her out for the trivial way she was handling an issue that had destroyed so many lives.
Brene representing herself in court lets me know that she doesn't take anything serious. Like, she didn't take her marriage serious. She didn't take Tim and Akira's marriage serious. She doesn't take her weight serious. And now this is all going into the...
But come on, what was she thinking? Defending herself in Durham County Superior Court over a $3.5 million lawsuit brought by a woman whose mother was a licensed lawyer. Brene's entire argument relied on consent. She argued that Akira had given her permission, however jokingly, to be with Tim. Yeah, right. Your friend gave you permission to mess around with her husband under her roof, where her 2 kids also lived? Like any judge was gonna fall for that. She also argued that their marriage was effectively over before she got involved. Influencers stayed in the courtroom's lobby, struggling to get a glimpse of the trial.
You did the message.
You're not coming back?
Timmy, how do you feel? How do you feel? You ruined all these people's lives. How do you feel, Timothy?
Everyone was talking about it, and there was a common consensus about who the villains were in the story. Comment sections on videos related to the case were full of negative sentiments about Brene. On the other hand, some people couldn't understand why Brene was being sued instead of Tim. I'm not trying to be silly, but why is Brene being sued but Tim isn't? Or is there something I'm not getting? Her husband decided to cheat, but the other lady is the one paying for her husband's misconduct. But wait, she has to pay for a man that was in a relationship. Now, I don't agree about this relationship, but he should be the one that should pay. The lawsuit at its core was about one thing: accountability. Akira held Brene accountable, and she got what she wanted in a short time. The trial lasted for 6 days in November 2025. It was 6 days of testimonies, cross-examinations, evidence presentations, and social media spectacle playing out at the same time. Tim Montague testified, and his testimony was supposed to be done for Brene's defense. But sources from inside the courtroom said it was devastating. He said on the record, under oath, that he never loved Akira and described their marriage as hostile, claiming they were living like roommates long before the affair. His sister Amani testified that their relationship was so stressful that it caused her to drop out of college. His mother Tamika described the marriage as consistently bad. While I didn't have the footage of the testimony, there were many other times Tim defended his decision. One example was when he and Brene were invited to Dr. Phil's show, and he said he never loved Akira.
I grew up struggling, so, I went into moving with her in 2018.
You in love with her?
No.
Never?
No.
Do y'all have children together?
Yes, sir.
2?
Yes, sir. 6 and 4.
6 and 4?
Yes, sir. So, there was a conflict with her roommates. We had to move as soon as possible. I was waiting on my...
Tim claimed his relationship with Akira was a marriage of convenience and nothing more. He painted her as someone with nowhere to go, and made it seem like he was doing her a favor by marrying her. But Dr. Phil pointed out the elephant in the room. How do you get someone pregnant multiple times and claim it's a marriage of convenience?
Marriage of convenience is what you're saying?
100%.
That's a bad decision, but I understand what you're saying. But then why would you have children with somebody that was just a marriage of convenience? This is just a rent thing.
Yeah.
It's a terrible reason to get married.
Absolutely.
But then you had 2 children with her?
Yeah.
Somebody that's just a roommate?
So the children were just victims of circumstance? Either he was irresponsible or he was just lying to make himself feel better about destroying his family over a high school fling. But I digress. Let's go back to the trial. From a legal strategy standpoint, saying I never loved my wife and our marriage was terrible does not exonerate the person who interfered in that marriage. Under North Carolina's Alienation of Affection law, it doesn't matter how bad the marriage was. What matters is whether there was still love and affection in it, even a little, and whether a third party interfered with that. If anything, it raised more questions about the nature of their relationship. Either way, it didn't look good, and things only got worse when Brene's ex-husband, Devin Mayo, took the stand and spilled everything. It was a bold clapback at Brene's narrative, and he came prepared. He came with specifics, and he didn't hold back. One of the most devastating parts of Devin's testimony was when he said that Brene once asked Tim's son to bring her wipes into the room she was in with Tim. Black Goddess, a creator with over 153,000 followers who's in the court during testimony, had this to say.
Tell me why he was like, Brene called Tim's son to bring her some wipes to the room because Tim and Brene had just finished having XEX. When I tell y'all, when I say I can't stomach this stuff, wipes, y'all know all them wipes?
One question kept popping up. If Devin saw these explicit acts and knew all this was going on, why did he take so long to react? Viewers had different theories about this. Most people said he was collecting evidence against Brene. Devin was collecting so much evidence. Akira was too. They won in my eyes. My thing is, how did they find this out? Theories didn't matter at the end of the day because the judge and jury believed everything Devin said, and it definitely worked against Brene. The most damning testimony came from Akira. She gave details about the seduction, the emotional harm, and what it felt like to watch someone she trusted dismantle her family from the inside.
So then Akira gets on the stand and Robin starts to ask her about her previous relationship with Brene. And at this point, Akira breaks down. Akira states that Brene was her friend and she considered Brene to be like an aunt to her children.
Akira was speaking from a place of pain. She also provided specific details, including dates and receipts. She talked about how she, Tim, Brene, and Devin spent Christmas in December 2023 together with other members of their family. She also said she and Tim went on a 7-day cruise together in that same month.
They also talk about December of 2023 where they had a Christmas event and Akira was there, their families were there, but they also invited Brene and Devin to come over. So both couples were there. Both couples seemed to be happy and in love and spending time as a family. Now, also in December of 2023, Akira and Tim went on a 7-day cruise.
Akira's testimony contradicted Tim's testimony in every way. All the evidence Akira provided showed that Tim was lying, and both of them had a loving, regular marriage, or so she thought. When talking about the emotional stress the affair had on her, Akira said she suffered a miscarriage shortly after finding out the truth. That bit of information brought Akira a lot of sympathy for obvious reasons, with comments like, "It's so sad that Akira suffered a miscarriage with her and Tim's third child when she found out about him and Brene. OMG, I didn't know she lost her baby. I just found out today. They talked about it in court. It's so heartbreaking." Tim's mama seemingly didn't know either. They said when it was mentioned, she looked over at Tim confused, sad all around. The revelation about the miscarriage also proved that Tim was lying. Because how is someone you call your roommate getting pregnant for your third child when both of you were only married for convenience? Make it make sense. Brene also gave her testimony. She recalled Akira saying, "Tim, I found your wife," as a joke. But her story was hard to believe, and she didn't have any evidence to support her claims. Also, her appearance on the Dr. Phil show in 2026 confirmed that she knew exactly what she was doing. Brene admitted that she recorded several inappropriate videos of herself and Tim in Akira's home. She said she was not ashamed of what she did.
But it led me to go there. They were okay with me going. She reached out, said it was okay. So I was there for a week.
What you said, it led me to go in there. What's the it?
So Tim and his wife, they allowed me to stay at their home for that week.
Okay.
During that week, I'm not a drinker, I'm not an alcoholic, I did drink. I was under the influence and I took Tim's phone and I created a video of myself talking gibberish in the video. That was one. It was inappropriate, absolutely.
What were you saying?
If I can recall, I couldn't wait to be Mrs. Montague, which I am now. It was a lot of like, "Oh, I love you," these type of videos. That is what I said in the video.
About
Tim.
Akira's husband.
Yes, about Tim.
While you were staying in her house.
Correct. As I stated, I'm not ashamed. It was inappropriate, and I stated to that in court. It was very inappropriate.
After nearly 2 hours of deliberation, the jury came back on November 10th, 2025, and the verdict, they found Brene liable. She was ordered to pay $1.5 million for alienation of affection and $250,000 for criminal conversation, bringing the total to $1.75 million.
The verdict is in and Brene has been found liable. She now has to pay Akira $1.5 million in damages, $250,000 for the alienation of affection.
Shortly after, Brene came online, ranting that she wasn't going to pay Akira a dime of that money.
I won't pay a penny of the $1.5 million because she allows me to.
So what happens if Brene decides not to pay? Well, I looked into it and found out that people who don't pay their lawsuit may lose their assets or lose access to their bank accounts. And if she still refuses to comply, a bench warrant may be issued against her. There is also a possibility that the money may rack up interest the longer she delays making payments. Brene finally retained the services of a reputable lawyer who filed a motion to stay the judgment while she submits an appeal.
Brene has filed a motion asking the court to wait and don't take her stuff just yet. She has filed a Rule 62 motion, which is a stay of enforcement of judgment or a stay of execution, basically saying, listen, I'm taking the correct steps. We're now headed to the appeal phase of this situation. So don't seize my property and sell it just yet. This needs to make it to the appeals first and let them review it and decide how this case is going to move forward.
The thing is, while Brene is delaying payments and doing everything she can to avoid it altogether, her social media posts tell a different story. Viewers noted how Brene's been posting a lot of lavish spending and has no excuse for delaying payment. She is literally posting them spending money online, bruh, and the people tag her attorney in every single video. I'm guilty of doing that like Robin, come look at this, LOL. No doubt the exposure from the drama got Brene and Tim a lot of attention, and with attention comes more money. Within weeks of the verdict, Brene and Tim were on the Tamron Hall show, and then on Dr. Phil. Well, I've shared a few clips from the Dr. Phil show already. Tamron Hall's show is another story. Brene played the victim card pretty well, painting herself as an innocent person who got bullied for nothing.
Not so much love, but more so hate.
Because I've been looking at the comments.
Yes, the comments are insane.
How do they make you feel?
Honestly, I have my days. I have my days where I don't feel too up to it. I have my days where I'm just sad, where I'm down. But then I have my days where I'm happy. For the most time, I can say that I try to be happy more than not.
The interview didn't attract the intended response. In fact, Tamron Hall faced some backlash for giving Brene and Tim a platform instead of Akira and Devin, and that question kept popping up in the comments section. Why are y'all interviewing her and not the woman who was done wrong? Because it's more interesting to interview the wrongdoer than the actual victim, SMA. So there may be some truth to that. I mean, everyone knows controversy brings the most views in the online space. As the interview progressed, Tamron asked Brene if she thought the love was worth the amount she now has to pay. Brene's answer, a resounding no.
Was this love worth over $1 million if you have to pay it?
Honestly, no. It's not worth over $1 million.
The expression on Tim's face when Brene answered it said it all. He wasn't expecting a no. Brene tried to backtrack when she realized her honesty might have unintended consequences.
Over $1 million, but he's worth it, is what I can say. He's worth it.
So you're saying, listen, he's worth it.
Yes.
How has this impacted your...
Viewers criticized her response. What did she mean by the love wasn't worth it? But Tim, the man in question, was worth it? It made no sense. One person said, the love isn't worth it, but he is? That don't make sense. Another responded. She realized what she said, heard the audience's response, and had to clean it up. Brene's controversial marriage to Tim is still trending on TikTok as she weathers the storm in courts, facing the consequences of her actions. Akira and Devin have both moved on. Devin went on a fitness journey and now focuses on improving himself. Akira is pregnant with her new man and living a happy life as far as we know. I don't know if Brene will ever be able to complete the settlement, but if she loses the appeal, she may end up paying Akira for the rest of her life. She still posts regularly and earns from social media, unlike our next TikToker who lost everything and deleted their accounts after ruining their reputation.